ただいまより林外務大臣の定例会見を始めます。
This is the press conference by Minister Hayashi. Minister Hayashi, the floor is yours.
There is one issue that I would like to refer to. So again, from the 27th of July to August the 4th, I will be visiting India, Sri Lanka, Maldives, South Africa, Uganda, and now, as the foreign minister, this will be my first visit to Uganda. Japan and Southeast Asian countries are traditionally in a very friendly relationship. Those countries are important partners in realizing the FOIP, or the Free and Open Indo-Pacific. The new plan of FOIP, which was announced by Prime Minister Kishida in March, the region is deemed to be one of the top priority areas, and Africa will continue to see the growth in population in the long term and also growth of the market. Africa is an increasingly important region for Japanese diplomacy. Through ticket process for a long time, Japan has been supporting the autonomous development of Africa as a partner, and for the Southwest Asian region as well as East and Southern Africa, these regions' stability and growth leads widely to peace and prosperity of the Indo-Pacific. As the international community is facing various issues, that it is increasingly important to stand with the countries of the global south, to listen to the voices of the international community widely, to try to aim to bring solutions to the various issues. And I am intending to have candid exchange of views with government leaders of the Southwest Asian and African countries, try to strengthen our bilateral relations, and also to confirm the cooperation on maintenance and strengthening of free and open international order based on rule of law. Mr. Yada from NHK, please.
Yoshimasa from NHK.
伺います。グローバルサウスの代表格とされるインドとの間では今年に入り岸田総理が
India, which is the head of the global south, they have been very active, taking part in international conferences, and I think leaders level exchange has become very important. What is the significance of holding a ministerial meeting, full ministerial meeting in India at this time? Do you have any plans to pay a courtesy visit to Prime Minister Modi? Yes, thank you for your question. India, with whom we share basic values and strategic interests, represents a very important partner to realize free and open Indo-Pacific. Now, in the visit to India this time, we would like to follow up on the leaders' meeting which took place in Hiroshima in May this year, such as seek further coordination with G7, G20, as well as seek further enhancement of our bilateral ties. We'd like to confirm further cooperation toward the G20 New Delhi summit in September. Now, the concrete schedule for India is still being worked out. I understand that Prime Minister Modi will not be present at Delhi during my visit, so courtesy visit to Prime Minister Modi is not scheduled. Next question, please.
From Asahi Shimbun, please. This is Wechi from Asahi Shimbun. In relation to your visit overseas, between Russia and the relationship with the other countries, as Russia has refused to participate in the BSGI, it is intending to show that it will also support Africa in food through food security. As you will be visiting African countries, how will you approach those countries to obtain understanding for the Japanese position? With the refusal of Russia for the Black Sea Grain Initiative has been ended, this is quite regrettable because there could be negative impact on the food security of the whole world. We are concerned of that. In order to secure the global food security, Japan is thinking that it is important to ask Russia to return to the international framework. We will be strongly asking Russia to resume the grain export from Ukraine. And I would like to share my thoughts with the African countries that I will be visiting. As for the G7 countries, including Japan's sanctions against Russia from the humanitarian perspective, we have excluded the daily necessities such as food and fertilizer, and I would like to duly explain on this.
Yoshimasa from NHK. I'd like to ask about questions with regard to your visit. You'll be visiting South Africa this time around. South Africa has joined long-standing friendship with Russia, and they have maintained a very neutral position vis-a-vis Russia's aggression into Ukraine. So what type of encouragement would you like to seek with regard to Africa? And also, do you have any plans to meet President Ramaphosa during your visit? Thank you very much. Africa is a region where we expect long-term growth to continue, and therefore this is a region where importance vis-a-vis Japanese diplomacy is gaining. In particular, South Africa is a member of the G20 and also is also the chair of this year's BRICS. So therefore, between South Africa, the significance of discussion on maintaining and strengthening free and open international order based on rule of law and other important global issues, and seeking further collaboration is increasing. From the perspective, we had to carry out very robust discussions with South Africa during my visit. As for a concrete schedule, it is being worked out, and I would like to refrain from commenting. The details are not yet worked out.
Next question, Okada-san from Sankei Shimbun. This is Okada from Sankei Shimbun. Now, about disinformation and fake news as China's involved. For the Fukushima Hadaichi nuclear power plant's Alps treated water release to the ocean, China is increasingly criticizing Japan. Through the YouTube channel, Foreign Ministry has made the public the video explaining in English the safety of the release to the sea of the Alps treated water. Do you plan to have a multilingual the video to be also made public? As for the Alps treated water, based upon scientific grounds, and to have objective and accurate information to be provided. And on the safety aspects, we need to gain further understanding of the international community and to try to repress any reputational risks. Such information to be provided that would be very important. And as for the video on English version, through the website of the Foreign Ministry and through YouTube channels, so they have been made public, and from effective information to be transmitted, we also will again be releasing the multilingual subtitled version, including Japanese language, the Chinese, and Korean language, and so forth. As for the Foreign Ministry, we would like to gain the understanding, to try to explain the position of Japan to the international community in detail with a high level of transparency and based upon scientific grounds.
Yamato from TBS. I would like to ask about the high-level meeting between Japan, China, and South Korea on the 14th in Jakarta. I understand that you met Mr. Wang Yi, and I understand that they suggested a proposal about high-level meeting between three countries of Japan, China, and Republic of Korea. How do you analyze the intentions of the Chinese proposal? And if this consultation were to be carried out, what is the significance and what are your expectations for such trilateral meeting? Yes, thank you. At the meeting with Mr. Wang Yi, who is the head of the General Office of the Chinese Communist Party, on the 14th, we carried out a follow-up discussion after the foreign ministers meeting between Japan and China, which took place in April. And we also carried out exchange of views about the importance of Japan-China process. And we once again came to an agreement about the need to restart the Japan-China-South Korea process, inclusive of the leaders and the foreign ministerial level. Now, I'm not in a position to state about the intentions of the Chinese, about the Chinese position. However, I believe Japan, China, and Korea really share significance in terms of the need for cooperation, in terms of maintaining peace and prosperity of the region. So the fact that these three leaders coming together to discuss various issues, inclusive of concrete cooperation and future direction, is very meaningful. As far as the concrete process and schedule for the cooperation between Japan, China, and South Korea is concerned, inclusive of the consultation that you referred to in your question, we have not yet had any final decision. However, it is important. we agree that we need to restart the Japan-China ROK process at the meeting between Japan and China at the leaders level as at ministerial level, and also between ROK, we support the South Korean initiative, which is the chair with regard to Japan-China cooperation. We would like to have good consultation at the three countries level. Thank you very much.
Kaguchi-san from Mainichi. Yes, this is Kaguchi from Mainichi Shimbun. A related question about the CJK, the summit. Now, the other day at the ASEAN Plus 3 foreign ministers the meeting, the foreign minister Park Chin have said that the summit, they intend to hold it by the end of this year. So what may be the response of Japan? And on bilateral relationship between Japan and China, there is a pending issue of Alps treated water. But do you think this may impact the holding of the China-Japan Korea summit? Now, Japan, China, and Korea, and the leaders of each the countries which holds the major responsibility for the regional peace and prosperity, and thinking about the direction forward for cooperation among the three countries. And as for specific aspects of cooperation and also on regional issues, I have already mentioned that it is quite productive and meaningful to have discussion among the three leaders. Having said so, for the release of Alps treated water, as the IAEA comprehensive report says, it meets the relevant international safety standards, and the radiation impact on humans and environment are negligible. That is given as a conclusion. So inclusive of that, as for the government, on the safety of Alps treated water, with high level of transparency, we would like to explain in detail to the international community. And with the China, we will strongly ask to have discussion based upon scientific grounds. But in any case, as for the specific process of Japan, China, and ROK cooperation, as for the timetable at the leaders and foreign ministers level with China, we have already agreed to restart the Japan-China Korea the process, and with ROK as well. As Korea is in the presidency, we have supported the Korea's endeavors. So we would like to continue to consider.
Asahi Shimbun, I'd like to ask about the launch of North Korean missiles. Late last night, North Korea launched 2 ballistic missiles. How do you intend to respond to that? Yes. Yesterday, there was a launch of 2 ballistic missiles by North Korea. Inclusive of that, North Korea is repeating launch of ballistic missiles at a frequency which is unprecedented. We believe this represents a very significant and very urgent threat for Japan. Also, this also undermines and threatens peace and safety of the region as well as the international community and cannot be accepted. And also these launches are in violation of the relevant UN Security Council resolutions. After the launch of the ballistic missiles by North Korea yesterday, through the diplomatic channel, through the embassy in Beijing, we launched a very strong protest. Also on the 25th, Mr. Funakoshi, who is the Director General of the Asian Affairs, held a phone consultation between Japan, U.S., and Korea, between Ambassador Song Kim, who is responsible for special representative for North Korea of the U.S. government, and also Mr. Kim Gong, who is the person responsible for peace negotiations on North Korea with the Foreign Ministry of South Korea. We conducted the phone consultation with these members, and we strongly denounced the launch of ballistic missiles, and we also confirmed the close coordination. As far as Japan is concerned, as a member of the UN Security Council and as the G7 chair, we will cooperate with the international community, inclusive of U.S. and Korea, and we will also seek decolonization of North Korea by complete implementation of the UN Security Council. Thank you very much. That's all for the press conference. Thank you very much.